Hey guys. Well, we are in a weekend this weekend of Venus conjunct Pluto all weekend long. We could experience some very intense ongoings this weekend as these two planets come into a conjunction together. Power struggles for sure. Issues in relationship dynamics, issues with authority could be things that we definitely see highlighted this weekend. We also have some other stuff going on. We have our first quarter square moon happening on Friday. We have a galactic center activation that is happening on Saturday, and we have Eris point energy coming in on Sunday. So we're looking at another big weekend. Intensity is likely to be very high, and we got to talk about Venus and Pluto, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, December 10th, 2021. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook for the weekend. In this report, I'm going to be talking about the energy for today, Friday, for tomorrow, Saturday, and then on Sunday. So 3 days combined into one. I'm going to move quickly and see if I can get it all done in the 30 minutes. So let's start with Friday. Start at the top. Let's talk about the energy that is in effect for Friday. This is the day where we have Venus coming into the conjunction with Pluto. This conjunction is happening at 26 degrees of Capricorn, that Sabian symbol where that degree is located, or the way that the energy of that specific degree discharges, emanates, and can be described in a symbolic form. That is what the Sabian symbols really tell us. It's a way of describing the energy in a picture form that is symbolic that we can use to gain more clarity over what that specific degree actually means and what the context of these specific activations, any specific activation, is doing when it's at a specific degree. We can look to the degree, read the Sabian, and it just gives us that additional context. So I always look at the Sabian symbols, starting with the Sabian symbol of the Venus-Pluto conjunction today, 26 degrees of Capricorn. That Sabian symbol is a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall. Now, just on its face value, this particular symbol always makes me think of like something pure and purifying and refreshing and cleansing, but also simultaneously a form of self-empowerment that allows for this process of liberation to be going on. The fairy dancing in the midst of the waterfall, it always makes me think of like the ultimate in liberation, cleansing, and purity as a result of just this profound sense of internal self-empowerment. So it's interesting as well, considering the planets that we're talking about, Venus and Pluto. This dynamic, in effect, has a lot to do with toxic relationship dynamics, addictions, where we surrender our power out of fear, and the things that we essentially give our power away to because we feel inadequate or insecure internally in some type of a way. With Venus coming into the conjunction with Pluto, and this is an extended stay conjunction because remember, Venus is slowing down right now and she's going to be going retrograde quite soon. And so she's moving very slowly in the sky. And so whereas this conjunction normally would only last for 1 day, that we would be dealing specifically with this energetic, today, this time around, we are dealing with it for 3 days initially right now in the exact conjunction, and then Venus will actually go retrograde only 1 degree off conjunction with Pluto. She will retrograde back, conjunct Pluto for another 3 days before she continues her retrograde process back through Capricorn, at which point she will go direct. Mars will catch up to Venus and they will travel together, and then they will conjoin Pluto for a 3rd time with both Venus and Mars together in the 3rd conjunction with Pluto. So the energy that is beginning actually now with this preliminary conjunction today is actually kicking off a process that is going to be carrying us all the way through March 2nd of 2022, when this Venus-Mars-Pluto conjunction will take place. So things that begin to come up now in terms of needing to liberate ourselves from anywhere where our love or our value or our sense of self-worth has been being distorted or enslaved to anything that has been controlling us, again, primarily through fears of lack or not being secure or safe or comfortable. these things are going to begin to come to a head. Power struggles are very likely as we go through this process of really truly recognizing the power of the value that we really hold inside of us, and our self-worth and our self-value and our self-love, and regaining a sort of lost relationship that we had to our inner self and to those things and to our perception of our own value. And as we really come back into a clearer alignment with the truth about the value that we hold inside of us, it pushes us through this process that helps us overcome these fears and come to a place where we realize that we no longer need these things that we have been bound to because we didn't perceive the value that we had inside of us. And so we felt like we needed something external to support us or to provide that external validation to us in some type of a way. So this is a process beginning right now that is really about breaking the chains of our heart, and anywhere, where our love, our value, even financial situations have been enslaving us or distorting the truth of our internal value. This is under a grand rectification right now, and it's going to be playing out over the next few months, and things are likely to start happening now this weekend and moving forward as we now officially have Venus coming into the conjunction with Pluto. So definitely today, you guys, themes of defending and protecting things that we deeply value and that we hold dear. And I'm going to take this up to even another level. Let me read you the Sabian symbols of the planets that are in effect for Friday when we begin this initial phase of Venus coming into the conjunction at this point in time with Pluto. And actually, you guys, there's even more to this story, because when this new year began, when this astrological new year began, Venus was in an exact square to Pluto. And this whole entire year has really been about this. There's very, very Venus-Pluto themed energy going on, and that has been going on this entire year, because really one of the most significant, important, and fundamental processes in terms of our energetic frequency-based shift into the age of Aquarius, where we are all collectively as humanity headed right now, and is really what is responsible for all of this chaos and all of these big major changes and shakeups that we are experiencing right now. This Venus-Pluto theme dynamic has been destined to come into fruition throughout the course of this year. And now here we are, in the Sagittarius cycle, and it's really coming to a peak, a climax, and this energy is really going to start activating and kicking off as we head throughout the rest of this astrological new year towards the astrological new year beginning in 2022 in Aries. And by that point in time, a lot of these Venus-Pluto issues that we've been dealing with that have been keeping us out of the truth of our value and therefore the truth of our power are being rectified. This process beginning now. So back to the Sabian symbols, back to the position of the planets today. It's just, it's just kind of like, it's very complex and hard to explain, because it really is, I call it the Venus-Pluto saga, because it really is just this like saga that is playing out between these two planets that resonates to this archetype, these archetypes that we hold within us. And it really is, and it reminds me also a lot of the Persephone story and the Persephone myth whenever we're dealing with Venus and Pluto. And it really is just this process of helping us to recognize the truth of our own internal value, our own self-worth, and help us break free from anywhere that we have been surrendering our power in order to receive that external validation because we weren't aligned with it internally. And yes, so I don't know how I'm still not talking about the Sabians of the planets today. So let's do that. Today we have the sun at 19 degrees of Sagittarius. That Sabian symbol is pelicans. Menaced by the behavior of men, seek safer areas for bringing up their young. We have the earth today at 19 degrees of Gemini. A large archaic volume reveals traditional wisdom. So here on earth today, the status of things on the ground, we are gaining wisdom through experience, and that is really what a lot of things have been pushing for over this past week if you've been following my work. So another very appropriate degree placement for the position of the Earth today. We have Mercury today at 26 degrees of Sagittarius, a flag bearer in battle, showing our true colors, picking a side, and speaking our truth. Mercury, the mind, the messenger planet. People are standing up for what they believe in today, showing their allegiances to whatever truth they hold inside of them. Venus, Pluto, both 26 Capricorn, like I said, a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall. And then we have Mars today, 29 degrees of Scorpio, an Indian woman pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. So if you notice in these Sabian symbols today, we actually have two symbols referencing needing to protect children. We have the sun today at Pelicans menaced by the behavior of men seek safer areas for bringing up their young. And then we have Mars today, an Indian woman pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. While we have this Venus-Pluto aspect coming into conjunction for its initial phase today. And I find this to be very interesting as well because Venus and Pluto together, this really has a tendency of stealing innocence in a lot of ways, stealing purity, stealing innocence, having to grow up too soon and, negative impacts on the inner child because of lost innocence, lost purity. It has a lot to do, Venus and Pluto, like sex trafficking and stuff like that, like big major themes. We have the whole Ghislaine Maxwell case playing out right now as well. Not surprised that that is going on simultaneous to when we have this Venus-Pluto conjunction in its initial phases. So it's interesting to me that for the first day of this Venus-Pluto conjunction, we have the sun specifically and also Mars speaking, very clearly about a desire and a need to protect children from some type of harm. Themes surrounding the need to protect children, the inner child, or as a symbolic reference, what we are trying to create, grow, and nurture. Being spoken about by the position of the planets today. Now, again, Venus-Pluto themes dominating this weekend, power struggles and relationships, finances and authorities, or with authority figures. Remember, this conjunction is happening in Capricorn. So this could definitely also have to do with any type of abuse regarding finances or financial situations, corruption or abuses of power in financial institutions, governments, long-standing establishments, long-standing power structures. All of these themes gaining some type of prominence right now and some type of increase in tension building with an intensity as well with these energetics that are now coming into effect. Breaking free from the fears that have been enslaving our heart, like I mentioned earlier, and rectifying abusive powers. This process over this next few months between now and when we get to the 2nd of March, when that Venus-Mars Pluto conjunction happens, which also, ironically enough, is happening on the same day as the new moon in Pisces, our last new moon of this astrological year. Very, very much about breaking free from the fears, like I said, that have been enslaving our heart and rectifying abuses of power that may have been going on throughout this period of time, starting now and will be playing out most likely through March as this saga unfolds. And that's really what it is. And then, like I said, 26 degrees of Capricorn, where this is occurring, a fairy or a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall, freedom, cleansing, self-empowerment. And it's also interesting to me because if you caught my video yesterday about Mars having just reactivated the degree of the last full moon lunar eclipse that we had in Taurus in Scorpio, remember that full moon was in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, interestingly enough. The position of that full moon, the Sabian symbol of that full moon, it happened at 28 degrees of of Scorpio and Taurus. And the Sabian symbol of that degree, 28, Scorpio, is the king of the fairies approaching his domain. And then we have the Venus-Pluto conjunction that is happening now at a nature spirit dancing in the midst of a waterfall. So, it's interesting to me because both of these symbols, both of these degrees reference this fairy or like spirit nature spirit, which kind of correlate to sort of the same thing, and really just make me think about this return of the magic, like this return of self-empowerment and the magic that comes through the recognition of this internal value that we hold inside of us, and the really magical like impact that that has on changing the external circumstances and experiences and relationships that we deal with and that we face in our lives as a result of an internal shift going on. So I really do feel like there's just a return of the magic that is on its way back to our world. And we just have to go through this process of finally, I mean, Pluto is the lord of the underworld, the lord of hell, like the associated with the darkness. And we've been in the spiritual battle, and now it's the spiritual battle for our heart and the truth of our heart. And we are fighting that battle. We are conquering that battle. We are going to win that battle. And when we do that, it will really represent this grand reunification, this internal integration of the divine feminine, the divine masculine within us, helping us to come to this place of internal wholeness and inner power that is part of this transition into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of self-knowledge, self-empowerment, self-mastery. And the energetics right now moving us through the end of this year are all pushing for that. And it's really beautiful the way that this is written in the cosmos, the way that this blueprint is constructed, very synchronistic. But it's kicking off now. And so just these Venus Pluto themes are things that we are definitely going to be dealing with this weekend. The power struggles, the relationship issues, breaking addictions, breaking out of toxic cycles based on this re-recognition of the truth of the value and the self-worth and the self-love that we hold inside of us, and no longer needing to receive that external validation and being able to surrender whatever we've been giving our power away to, because we no longer need that for that external validation. So that's what it is. That's what I'm saying in terms of the Venus-Pluto aspects that we have going on, or the conjunction that we have going on generally right now. Now, for Friday, we also have our first quarter square moon going on Friday as well. The moon will be in Pisces. This sun is in Sagittarius right now, so they will form a square. This could also be bringing about some type of conflict or tension internally about just like how to generally move forward at this point in time. We're in the midst of a lot of shakeups right now, a lot of turmoil, a lot of potential chaos and intensity. And there may just be some conflicts arising today, especially also in terms of, what we feel like we really need to be doing, and any type of emotional struggles that we are having with and making that happen. Just generally some conflict or some tension today coming through in terms of how we are trying to move forward, how we are trying to make a breakthrough in some type of a way, feeling perhaps limited, blocked, obstructed in the progress potentially that we are trying to make at some point in time. And it may be bringing up some emotional conflict today as well with that square from the moon to the sun. Also today on Friday, we have the black moon changing degrees. And if you've been following my work, you'll probably remember this one. We have the black moon changing from 16 degrees of Gemini to 17 degrees of Gemini. That degree is the head of a robust youth changes into that of a mature thinker. This is the black moon. This is our shadow side. This is our subconscious programming. And if you've been following along with the energetics this week with the astrology, you know that we just had a major sun black moon opposition, and we've been really in black moon energetics all week. And actually this entire lunar cycle has a lot of black moon energy woven into it, because the black moon was in opposition to the new moon itself and was in an exact opposition to Mercury, who is the black moon is currently in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. And this was telling me that over the course of this lunar cycle that we were definitely going to be getting some breakthroughs mentally in terms of really being able to see the root issues and sort of break through in terms of our own mental awareness in regards to the hidden subconscious aspects of our own psyche that have really been motivating and driving a lot of our behavior and circumstances, experiences, relationships without us even necessarily being consciously aware of it, because it's like the programming that's running in the background. And with all of these black moon aspects coming up and that happened for this new moon cycle, it really, this entire cycle really has a lot to do with shining light into the deepest recesses of our psyche and helping us to essentially crack our own subconscious algorithms that keep us out of being able to consciously create our lives with God the way that we want it to go, and have us sort of at the mercy of the conditioning of our past experiences and our like learned modes of operating that we're not even necessarily really conscious of are going on. So this entire cycle is really about gaining this mental awareness, this mental shift in terms of really understanding a lot of the hidden forces that have been motivating our thoughts and our behavior. And then we have the black moon today switching to this degree 17 Gemini, the head of a robust youth, changes into that of a mature thinker. And I feel like this is actually speaking about that process, about us gaining this deeper sense of self-awareness and like cognitive understanding of these deeper issues that maybe had kept us in a state of lacking maturity in the way that we were using our own mind. So it seems like with the black moon moving to this degree now, it may be talking about us gaining some maturity in terms of the way that we are using our own mental faculties and not necessarily being as controlled by these subliminal programs as we have been up until this point, which is what everything has been pushing for this past week with all of these black moon activations, and actually, like I said, this whole cycle. So we have that as well. So that's basically what I have in terms of the energetics for Friday. Now let's talk about the energetics for Saturday. On Saturday, we are going to be having the sun come to 20 degrees of Sagittarius. That Sabian symbol is men cutting ice for use in summer, preparing for times to come, being resourceful. The earth will be at 20 degrees of Gemini, a cafeteria with an abundance of choices. We may be feeling for some reason a bit overwhelmed with choices or options on Saturday. Saturday, Mercury will be at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. This is the galactic center. The Sabian symbol of this degree is the sculptor's vision is taking form. This is the degree in the sky that really emanates like the God source code. This is where like all the galactic wisdom that is, that makes up our universe essentially sort of emanates from. And whenever a planet is aspecting the galactic center, it is like a blast of divine wisdom coming through. And with Mercury being there, being the planet at the galactic center today, there may be some big time epiphanies, revelations, flashes of insight, just internal knowings. You may find out something very profound. There may be some big time shifts in perspective going on to see things from a much higher, like elevated bird's eye view level that just sort of like hits you all of a sudden. There may be some very strong intuition, intuitive urges, spiritual guidance coming through. Definitely, though, a good day to, write or to meditate or to self-reflect and self-analyze or to ask for some type of signs or messages, Mercury, the messenger planet, for guidance on your path, because there is a direct line of communication going on today between Mercury, the messenger planet, ruling our mind, our thoughts, and communications, and the galactic center, the God source code in all of our zodiac. So definitely there could be signs, important messages, divinely inspired like words or communications, things that you overhear coming through today. Pay attention to signs, signals, messages, songs, synchronicities. Very, very primed day for some type of divine guidance, especially coming through in anything Mercury related, overhearing a conversation, just a random piece of information that comes through, messages, signs, like I said, of some kind, repeating patterns as well. Mercury rules patterns. So anything like that with Mercury conjunct the galactic center today, this really is an opportunity for a very expanded mind in alignment with truth as well. So very like, high point for sure on Saturday this weekend, having that Mercury in the conjunction to the galactic center, really, really trying to open our eyes and expand our mind after we have gone through all of this black moon energy that has been shining this light into our shadows and helping us to gain a conscious awareness of those more subconscious motivating driving forces within us. And now it's like we are getting this like expanded opportunity to really, really get it, like on the cognitive level, because it's Mercury. Very interesting. We have again on Saturday, Mars still at 29 degrees of Scorpio, and Indian women pleading to the chief for the lives of her children. This energetic still is in effect. And then we have on Saturday, this is actually the first exact to the minute conjunction of Venus and Pluto. They will align exactly to the minute on Saturday. Again, 26 Capricorn and nature spirit dancing in the midst of the waterfall. So number one on Saturday to be aware of, Venus conjunct Pluto exact to the minute. Doesn't get any closer or more intense than this. Abuses of power, abuses of love, abuses of money might be extremely highlighted. A lot of intensity, a lot of power struggle, very likely on Saturday. Also, Mercury, like I said, conjunction to the galactic center, and an infusion of that God source wisdom readily available and coming through. Trust your divine guidance for sure on Saturday. We also have on Saturday the moon still in Pisces, is going to be in later Pisces though, is going to be making a square to Mercury at the galactic center. It's also going to be making a trine to Mars. So when the moon is making aspects, this has a tendency to affect and impact the way that we're feeling about things. With the moon making this square from Pisces to Mercury at the galactic center in Sagittarius, this could be some really uncomfortable truths that we experience that are coming up. This wisdom, these revelations, these things that we find out, these signs that are coming in, whatever comes with the Mercury in conjunction to the galactic center and seeing the bigger picture of things, may really bring up some internal conflict, some emotional disturbance, some emotional angst. Just because we have the moon in square, it's like maybe finding out stuff we really didn't want to know, some really harsh truths about things that kind of hurt us in some type of a way. But remember, it is ultimately all for the purpose of helping us to recognize the truth of the value that we hold inside of us, come back into our internal self-worth, self-value, self-love, and be able to cut ourselves free from what we had been surrendering to in order to gain that validation and love externally. So just another part of this, if it gets a little uncomfortable emotionally as a result of things that are coming to light, it's just part of the energy, it's just part of the process. We also today are going to be having on Saturday the moon in Pisces making a trine to Mars in Scorpio. High energy, anger, aggression, action, willpower, courage, strength, passion, ego as well could potentially be very high. This is, people could be really just angry, spontaneous action with this, very high and volatile emotions, because we're talking about water signs. It'd be very emotionally intense, especially with the square to Mercury. So it's almost like we may find out some things or come to some really true conclusions that really make us angry in some type of a way and cause some type of internal conflict. That is how this particular transit with the moon squaring Mercury at the galactic center and trining Mars could result. But yeah, energy could be very high, passions could be running very high, and there's definitely emotions involved in this because it's the moon and it's Mars, and they're both in water signs, ruling our feelings, ruling our emotions. So very primed for volatile emotions on Saturday. And again, it could come from some type of revelation or awareness or truth that comes through and kind of upsets things a little bit. And again, we have Venus and Pluto in conjunct exact that day. So this might be some righteous anger that is a result of some type of abuse of power, abuse of love, abuse of money, injustice that's gone on, that somebody is finally standing in their power and rectifying how this could play out for sure. Or it could be anger as a result of people standing in their power and standing up. Like the other party might get really angry and have a problem with that too. But break the chains energy is what we're in right now. So full steam ahead. Let's talk about Sunday real quick. I only have a few more minutes. On Sunday, the sun is going to be conjuncting is going to be trining the Eris point. This is the ultimate in the break the chains energy. Breaking free, breaking the shackles, breaking the bondage from anything that enslaves us to something that is not our authentic truth. With the sun in the trine to the Eris point, after the energy that I just spoke about going on yesterday, and with Venus in a conjunction to Pluto, we are absolutely not having it. Absolutely breaking the chains, absolutely throwing off anything that is shackling us, weighing us down, holding us back, and keeping us out of alignment with the authentic truth of the value, the love, the worth that we hold inside of us, and the power that truly represents externally. Anything that we are cutting ourselves free from those external sources of love and validation that had been stealing our power and keeping us in a place of diminished self-worth and a lack of internal wholeness and self-empowerment. So with the sun trying the Eris point, this is another huge energetic that fits right into this and is just all about breaking free. So people might really be wilding out a little bit on Sunday, not having it, maybe like spazzing out a little bit. It could get very heated again. The degree 21 Sag, where the sun will be a child and a dog with borrowed eyeglasses. Again, this is talking about shifting perspectives and the desire in trying to the Eris point to break free from all that binds and constrains us. Remember the degree of the Eris point, the Sabian symbol, a boxer entering the ring. The fight is on. Like, we're not holding back anymore. It is this righteous fury, this righteous anger, this speaking truth to power, this not taking it anymore, and this rectifying these abuses that have been going on in one form or another, specifically in regards to love, money, and our sense of internal self-worth and internal self-value. We have on Sunday the sun in a square to Neptune. This could also bring some disillusionment, some confusion, or some disorientation, or it could bring conflict arising from any type of deception that's been going on, anything that's been intentionally creating confusion, any type of lack of clarity that has been being presented, or any type of projection or illusion, or any type of false pretenses could definitely be getting cracked through under this energy and be bringing up some major conflict, especially with the sun in the trine to the Eris point simultaneously. Sun square Neptune exact, while exact trine to the Eris point, busting through illusions and throwing off the chains that have been binding us to them. For sure, this is really powerful. Venus, of course, conjunct Pluto. So that's what this is referencing. Throwing off the chains from anything that has been binding us to some type of external source of validation that we have been needing because we haven't been recognizing the truth of that in ourselves and where we've been surrendering our power. And then we also have Mercury and Mars about to change signs. They are at like the very last degrees of their signs. So we're going to be having some major shifts heading into next week. And remember, we do have Jupiter, ruler of all of this Sagittarius energy right now, at 27 degrees of Aquarius. This degree is an ancient pottery bowl filled with violets, wisdom through experience, wisdom and things from the ancient past coming back around to be repurposed and useful again now. A return of the magic coming back to put things right here on earth, bring us back into our power as we go through this energetic and vibrational transcendence into the age of Aquarius. And right now, in order to get that magic back, we're realizing it is coming through breaking our own subconscious programming and aligning with the truth and the value that we hold inside of us so that we can cut the cords on anywhere we've been surrendering our power externally and go through this process of igniting our creative inspiration, authentic truth within us, creating externally so that we can receive that back and live and experience joy and fulfillment in our lives. Thank you guys so much for